Instagram now. Let me get this shindig started. That's an interesting word, shindig. It's probably one of those words that's super offensive, and I've just been saying it since I was a kid. There we go. Live on Instagram, live on YouTube. Welcome everybody. Oh, I don't look so hot here. I need to get some lighting on. It's kind of I need to be glowing for Instagram. There we go. Okay, hey everybody. Hey, what's up, Diego? What's up, San Jose? Have you started the program? I'm curious to know. Federico, Taylor, Mohammed, Me Oliveira, Elias, Anuch, Yunus, Jamal, Tiago Sampaio, Tacos, let land, shoot your shot. Gotta say that properly so it doesn't come out as a swear word. Beastie homie, Aftakini, Rados, greetings from Panama. Hey, what's up? Shotico, hey, I'm good, and you? Oh, I am so dandy right now. Alex95, what's up, everybody? Hey, what's up here on YouTube? Today's subject, what is today's subject? Today's subject, is JavaScript versus Python. Which one's better? Which one should you learn? Jason, could you tilt the light towards me a little more? Like that. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, I just had a blemish. Just kidding. Mamoun here from Tunisia. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so Python versus JavaScript. We're going to talk about that today. I want to learn Swift UI so bad, but I don't know UIKit yet. You don't actually need to know UIKit to learn Swift UI. You do if you want a job, but you can actually learn Swift UI from the ground up. So, good timing just landed. I'm learning JavaScript right now. All right, Carl. So let's talk about this. JavaScript versus Python. What's up, Benz? So, anyone here using Python? Anyone here using JavaScript? I know we've got Carl using JavaScript. So Python right now is per Stack Overflow, the world's fastest growing, most popular language. Popular, meaning like everyone's using it. And so first I want to talk about that. And okay, let me give you a spoiler alert here. I know I put the clickbait headline on there, but there's no winner in this match of JavaScript versus Python. So sorry to let you down before we even got started here. But so Python is the most popular language right now. It's not necessarily the most used out there. That's probably JavaScript because millions of websites that are using it. But here's the thing. Here's what I want you to understand about Python. The reason why it's so used right now and so popular is because it's used in so many things, okay? It's used in data science. Some companies use it even on desktop apps. I worked for a company where we had an actual Windows and Mac desktop app because it could be built cross-platform with Python. Python is heavily used with Django, so building APIs on the back end. You can even build websites with Python and Django. So when I say websites, like front end, because with Django you can do server-side rendering. So what that means is you can use Django like PHP, which I don't use Django this way. I don't think it's a good way to use it, but you can inject variables into your HTML and CSS with Python through Django. So it's used there. It's used in machine learning heavily. In fact, that's what's really bringing it up the ranks right now is all the machine learning. So if you're interested in machine learning, Python's the way to go. Python's a great scripting tool. Like it's used on a lot of servers. Like if you want to quickly run queries or do math and different things like on your server, you can do that because it's so easy to use. It's super, super easy to use. By the way, you can do all those same things with JavaScript as well too, which is kind of interesting. Python is an interpreted language. It's not a compiled language. And same thing with JavaScript. They're both interpreted languages or called scripting languages. And what that means, let me move my mic over here. What that means is it's the code is interpreted at runtime, okay? A compiled language like C++ or C# or Swift, all of the code is actually compiled before the program ever runs, okay? It's compiled and it's compressed, and that's what make those languages very fast. Those are Typically, they're called compiled languages. They're also often, most languages considered statically typed languages. And so they're a little faster than Python and JavaScript. But interpreted languages are cool because they're kind of cross-platform, right? So long as you have a tool, you can run it anywhere. So Python can run on any operating system. And now with JavaScript, we've got Node. Node is the tool. It's the engine that speaks to the different operating systems and then or the browser, and then JavaScript runs on top of that. So they're both easy to use, and Python's growing fast because it's used in so many things. Now, it's the same thing with JavaScript. JavaScript's used everywhere, and almost every single website on planet Earth uses JavaScript. So JavaScript is definitely more in use than Python. I didn't say popular, but I said more in use. It's everywhere on every single website, okay? It's important to understand that. And so some of you may have seen that I actually have, a video, called "Why You Should Not Learn Python," it's a little clickbaity, but it goes over some important things. And specifically, if you are somebody who is hold on here, turn off low power mode. Okay, if you are somebody who's brand new and your only goal is to get a programming job, I typically don't recommend that you learn Python. The reason for this is because what is a beginner going to do with Python? Well, you could go with APIs and Django, but you don't typically get hired as a beginner junior developer doing back-end stuff. Most companies don't hire junior people for that. Most companies hire junior people for the front end. So if you're going to get into machine learning, yeah, learn Python. But other than that, for a specific career, it's not the fastest path to a career because it's like scattered everywhere, and it's a good thing to learn, but not necessarily the very first thing you should learn. Now, somebody mentioned on here, JavaScript is a mess, and you should learn Python first. So JavaScript, is kind of an ugly language. Python. Python's an interpreted language too, but JavaScript has some problems, sure. But the thing about it is, again, I'm only talking to you people who are looking to get your very first job as fast as possible. If you learn JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and React, you will get a job much faster than learning Python because the job market is open for you in that arena. So when I talk about JavaScript versus Python, that's the reality. Keep in mind, I've worked with over 500,000 students. I'm not biased to one language or another. Like I know Python and I know JavaScript, and they're both great. The fastest path to your first job is not through Python. It's not. I said the fastest. I'm not saying better. I'm saying the fastest. The fastest path to your first job is not through Python. It's through JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and React, or mobile apps. Those you can get jobs pretty fast with that. Again, I'm only talking about beginners here. Your first job, you can go search online. Junior backend developer, Python, you're probably going to find very few. Or entry-level backend developer, Python, you're going to find very, very few. Okay, which would be Python and Django. Your best option, if you did want to go to Python to get your first job, is Python and Django building APIs with backend development. But again, you typically start as a front-end developer on your first job. And then you can of course learn Python after you got the basics of JavaScript down, and you can go build your backend APIs. But that's my recommendation. Let me look at some of the comments here. Python, beginner. I know very well JavaScript, CSS, and what should I learn now? Any framework? Well, learn React to build better front ends with React. I'm learning Python at the moment at the university. Yeah, use it for AI. Yeah, Python's heavily used in AI. Yeah, Python is a must for data science. Absolutely. What can I do in my free time? Learn to code aside from what I'm doing at university. People take a lot of courses. I always recommend people stop fiddling and learning. Now, people get mad when I say that because they say, well, you should explore. Well, you should explore, but I think it's better to pick a goal, have something in mind. Oh, I want to build an app, or I want to build a website, or I want to build a product. And then you just learn whatever technology you need for that instead of just learning programming languages. Because when you learn programming languages just to learn them, they don't stick in your head. I learned Python first and currently been studying JavaScript. I recommend learning JavaScript first if you want to if you want to enter the working market faster. Yes, Daniel, that's exactly what I've been saying here. Yep. I'm stuck at CSS. To me, it's harder than JavaScript. Oh, well, maybe your future is in backend development. If I want to be a backend developer, what should I learn? I always, again, like I said, I recommend people learn the front end first. Learn HTML. Look, every single backend developer job. I was just actually on Indeed looking at backend developer jobs 2 days ago. Listen up. Every single backend developer job that was not enterprise also had you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. It didn't matter if it was Ruby on Rails or Python and Django. Every single one of those backend developer jobs said also must know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if you learn those things first, you can get that front end job. Then you can learn the backend. Okay. Let's go here to Instagram. Hey, what's up, Pipkin, David, Pavel? I'm just making a chatbot. Any advice? Sure, you can do that whatever you want, Python or JavaScript. You can do it with C#. Microsoft has some chat stuff. MongoDB or Postgres. Either or, they're both great. NoSQL databases. Malak, Riley, DeathX, Sepher, Blankenstein, what's up? Python or Node to start with server-side? Just depends what you want to do. If you already know JavaScript, learn Node to be faster. Jason Vasquez, what's up? A little bit of both. Kotlin versus Java. Definitely Kotlin. Even on Android's website, they say Android is Kotlin first. They want you to develop in Kotlin. What is the best front-end framework if I need to learn PHP Laravel? So if you're doing PHP Laravel where you're completely extracting the API into its own world, okay? If you're doing that, you can use whatever you want for the front end. If you're using PHP the nasty way, the way that makes everybody hate PHP, which is template rendering, inserting junk variables into HTML and CSS, if that's what you're doing, you have limitations. You got to use PHP. But if it's extracted like a pure API, use whatever you want for your front end. It doesn't matter. Node.js or Nest? Are you saying Nest or Next? I'm pretty sure you're saying Next. Is there a Nest.js? There probably is a Nest. There's probably a Nest everything. Nest.js. There is a Nest.js. Okay, server-side applications. I see what you're saying. I've never used Nest, but I will say you do have to do a lot of setup when you work with Node, so it would be nice to have a nice framework to help get things started. So I'm 35. Is it too late for me to become a developer? No, it is not. I've helped people way older than you. I mean, would I have the same chance to get a job as someone who's younger? Yes, you would. Absolutely. Let Len, you should come talk to me. I have a DevSlopes Academy where I coach people one-on-one, people age 35 plus. You can do it. And age doesn't matter. I have people with different circumstances too. One of our newest students is an ice road truck driver, like drives those crazy, scary roads out in like Alaska or wherever. Like, and another student, he's here in Texas. He's listening, or he's probably here right now. He's a teacher. He's a band teacher, and at a high school, and he's just crushing it. He's just crushing it right now. Completely different background. You can do it. Come talk to me, Mark at devslopes.com. Send me an email. Come talk to me about DevSlopes Academy. I will coach you personally and my team to success, guaranteed job, guaranteed freelancing, whatever you're looking for. We'll work with you until you have success. Especially for somebody who's 35. You want to go fast. You don't have time to waste. You don't have time to be spending on courses, one after the other, time and getting stuck on your own. Come talk with me. Let's coach you to success. 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever. You'll be working. No big deal if you put in the time. Come send me an email, mark at devslopes.com. I like working with people like you, people who are hungry for change and want to do something cool. So I interviewed for an Android dev job in a mid-sized company and failed miserably in DSA round. I don't know what DSA means. They ask hard category questions, how to prepare for interviews alongside Android. Yeah, Rahul, it's just experience. Figure out what you did wrong. Study those things. Take more interviews. Interviews are like practice. Don't get upset about it or anything. Just practice. You'll get one if you keep interviewing. Most people are too scared to even go to the job interview. So kudos to you for doing that. Keep practicing. Figure out what you did wrong. Improve on those things. Coding challenges just takes time and practice. You'll get it. You'll find a company that wants you and your skills. Let's go back over here to the tube. currently learning JavaScript, but all the frameworks are a little intimidating. Vue, Angular, React, and loads more. Yeah, you just learn React. It's easy to get started. Is Node better than Django? No, they both kind of do the same things, although Django has a lot of features out of the box that you can use. It just depends what you're trying to accomplish. Um, yeah. Do you need an app store? Do you need an app on the App Store before you start applying for jobs? No, Rick, you don't. But you do need a project. Get a really great project. Your capstone project, Rick. Rick's one of our academy students. Um, Rick doesn't message me in private to coach him. He comes here to be coached when he could be just messaging me in private to get all of these answers. But anyway, Rick, build your capstone project, get it on your GitHub, because um, you'll be able to cover that in an interview when someone looks over your code. And it'll give you the experience that you need. Again, like I mentioned the other day, if you can get a few freelance projects on your resume, have a nice capstone project that like a major project that's on your GitHub, you'll be really set up. Then it's just a matter of doing the interviews and practicing. Okay, so um, yep. Is Vue, React, Angular a waste of time? I can build websites more easily, debug them using vanilla JavaScript. No, you can't, dude. You don't even know. You need to go learn React and your life will change. I have been developing for years. You cannot build faster vanilla JavaScript. You cannot. It is not possible. I promise you, I would bet a bajillion dollars on it. If you put two developers together to build a website, one that's doing React, one doing vanilla JS, I would totally bet on the React person. No, I'm sorry. It is not possible. I promise you. Do you agree that Rust would play C? I think it's heading that way. I think it's cool. I think it's more fun than C. I played around with it. Um, what's the difference between React and React Native? React Native is for building mobile apps. You still use React, but it has other components that you use to access native elements. Do you see a future in Ruby? I don't know. People have been using Ruby on Rails less and less over the last 5 years. That's not an expert opinion. That's just what I've seen in job postings. Like 5 years ago, everyone and their dog was using Ruby on Rails, every single startup, but people don't really use Ruby outside of Rails. So, what languages do I need to learn to build a website? Says Moises. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and learn React. I'm in my 40s trying to get better, willing to do work for it. Dude, do it. 2 to 3 hours a day of hard work for 6 to 8 months. We'll get you freelance projects. Do a freelance projects. A few more months, you could be working full time if you put in the time. Are junior backend jobs a thing? Says DJ. Every time I say they're not, someone's like, well, I found one. Yeah, there's always edge cases, but we're talking about big numbers here. Most companies do not hire junior backend developers. Your fastest path to success is learning the front end and then moving into the back end. I promise you. I've been doing this for a long time. I promise you. Would you be able to share some insights in the UK job market? Yeah, I do have some insights because I have students there. There's a lot more companies in the UK that do want certificates and degrees. European Union is very stickler about their degrees and certificates and their pieces of paper and their college degrees and institutions, because we must be very proper. It's proper to have a proper education, and anything less than a proper education would be completely improper. Yes, that's what it's like in the UK. But specifically in the UK, there is a decline on that. I've actually seen students get plenty of jobs without having the certificates. But there are other countries like Amsterdam and Sweden where you can't. Oh, and Ireland, where you can't get any job unless you have a degree or a certificate. So it's opening up in UK a little bit here. But that's what I know. I don't live in the UK. This is just my experience with students and me looking up job postings and things like that and working with students, just so you know. Is learning front end and Firebase good? Yeah, especially if you're doing freelancing. That's a great choice because you can build anything for any client. I'm getting way ahead of my knowledge, but I'm seeing videos on Jamstack. I don't know what Jamstack is. How can you successfully become an iOS developer coming in as a total beginner. 2 to 3 hours a day, 6 to 8 months. Take on some freelance projects. Do that for a few more months. And you can get a job. You can take longer if you need to, but if you aggressively pursue that, you can hit it. Most people don't. I mean, even some of my students at the academy, they take a little bit longer, which is okay. Is 6 months iOS experience possible to find a job in the UK? I have a student. She was in the academy and she quit the academy 4 months in because she got a job in the UK. And she did it in 4 months. Now, that's not common. Other people take longer. It just depends on how much time you put into it, honestly. Like, I'll tell my academy students, for instance, put in 2 to 3 hours a day. But this is what they kind of do sometimes. Do like 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, or 1 week they'll do 5 hours, and the next week they'll take it off. And you do that enough times, and it starts adding up and takes a longer time. 2 to 3 hours a day, every single day for 6 months, and you would have a job. I recommend doing freelancing first and then going on for the job. You just got to be good. You got to build stuff. It's all about how much you build. If you're not building projects and not writing code, it's going to take longer. That's a true story. A young lady, 18 or 20, 22, I don't remember, just came in and crushed it with iOS development 4 months in and got a job, and I haven't seen her since. React Native or using React.js, Node.js, can use both. What? React Native? I'm not sure how to answer that. Django versus Node.js for freelancing. If you know JavaScript already, just learn Node because you don't have to learn a new programming language. If you know Python, then Python and Django is going to give you a lot of cool stuff out of the box. Make your development faster. I know very well JavaScript. Which framework should I learn, React or Vue? Definitely React. Vue's not as popular. You'll find way more resources on React. I'm up at 5 a.m. most days learning for 3 hours, then off to work. That's great. Yeah, Carl, you'll crush it if you do that every single day. One thing that a lot of developers have a problem with, though, is endless learning. So even if you're putting in the time they go from one course to the other course, the other course, the other course. Make sure you have a curriculum from A to Z of what you're going to do and which projects you're going to build. Otherwise, you can get stuck in endless learning. By the way, I provide all of that at DevSlopes Academy. You get the curriculum, you get the coaching, you get the mentorship, you get weekly live Q&As, you get all of that for as low as $8 a day. What's that, Mark? Yes, it's quite a steal. $8 a day. You can get in the DevSlopes Academy, and it's guaranteed success. I will work with you one-on-one until you have a paid job or freelancing projects. Yes, I will. All you have to do is send an email to mark@devslopes.com, and you can even get a CEO discount if you mention it. Void where prohibited. Not available in all countries. But yeah, check out DevSlopes Academy. That'd be great. I've started learning Android. Okay, back to Instagram here. I'm sorry. Woo! So many questions. What's the best way to Brazilians to find job in U.S.? Freelance work, upwork.com. Hey, what's up, everybody? Do you do work from home? Oh, all the time. I'm in my office right now, but I work from home a lot. Django or Express.js, which ones beginners should choose? If you know JavaScript already, just stick with Node and Express. If you know Python, do Python and Django. If you don't know either, it's your choice. Python and Django gives you more out of the box right in the beginning. What's up, Skate Trippy? Andre Privyet. Why do some coding bootcamp grads name themselves a software developer, whereas some name themselves software engineer? It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Programmer, software engineer, software developer. Some really smart people like to break it out. It is all the same. Of course, engineering, you think very elite, high up, but it's, and past that came from a lot of desktop applications. You were engineering applications. Are you really engineering something if you're putting CSS and if you're writing nasty HTML CSS like this guy over here, like, are you really an engineer? Just kidding. Should we learn TypeScript too after learning JavaScript? TypeScript's fantastic, and there's a lot of jobs that call for it. You will only benefit from learning TypeScript. Where are you reading questions? On YouTube and here on Instagram. So, Darshan. Most companies switch to Java Spring Boot from Node.js. What? No. Java and Spring and Boot are enterprise languages. You don't. No big company says, are we going to use Node or are we going to use Java Spring Boot? No. Enterprise companies typically pick a big stack that's reliable, like Java, Spring Boot. And then they'll probably also use Node in there, but you don't typically go, should I use Node or .NET? Or should I use Node or Java, Spring Boot? It's usually, should I use Node or Python, Django, or Node or Ruby on Rails? Those are open source, super snappy, fast, cool, hip frameworks. It's not Java versus Node. Do we need calculus for web developing? No, you need basic junior high math. That's it. What should I recommend for beginners to learn? C++, Java, or Python? None of those. Ugh. I mean, Python maybe, but what are you trying to accomplish? If you're going to be a game developer, learn C++. If you want to go work for SAP Enterprise Company, learn Java, but no. Where are you getting these recommendations? Do I just register for the courses that came with the book? If you got my book on Kickstarter, um, I don't know if you backed it or emailed me or not or whatever, but when the campaign ends, you can get those 4 courses or pick different courses, but you got to wait 28 more days for that. Okay. Which reminds me, where is it here? Chrome tab. Okay. Check this out. This is my personal project. This is sponsored by Mark Wahlbeck. Oh, look at that go up. Whoa, we just hit $14,000. My book, The Last Hacker. It's a fictional sci-fi book. Has $14,000 raised on Kickstarter. And here's the really cool thing, ladies and gentlemen. I have a special cross promotion with DevSlopes where in addition to getting the book for free, you can get 4 coding courses from devslopes.com. This does not include DevSlopes Academy. These are self-paced. There's no support with these. These are just supplemental courses. You can get these 4 courses. That's $1,200 worth of coding courses you can get for $37. But those are running out really fast on Kickstarter.com. This is Kickstarter The Last Hacker. Just search Kickstarter The Last Hacker and you can get these 4 courses. Or I have a link where you can pick and swap out other courses on devslopes.com if you already have these or don't want these. So these are running out very, very fast, though. It's the Hacker Pack. Choose the Hacker Pack on Kickstarter to get $1,200 worth of coding courses for free. For $37 and get the book for free. Just search on Kickstarter, The Last Hacker. And it's a cool book. It's a really cool book. I spent a lot of time writing it. People are loving it. And the campaign is doing super, super well. So that's it for this sponsored message. This is great. I'm like my own little broadcasting studio in here. Jason's like trying to work and I'm just totally distracting him. All right. Did I stop the, okay, that stopped there. Cool. All right. Have you personally taken CS50? No. I did do one college class one time. I only did college for like 2 months before I quit and it was assembly and it was very hard. It was fun though. ASP.NET MVC or .NET Core for sure, and use Blazor or Razor, and don't use MVC's is gonna phase out. .NET Core with web tools for everything. MVC is the past. Suggest some projects to learn Node.js. I don't know. How do you learn programming and become a pro? Lots of practice. Practice. Writing code instead of watching videos. Dark Slayer. I'm 17. Do you think I can get a job? A freelancing job. There's a 17-year-old who works with me here at DevSlopes. He gets paid money, real money. With practice, you can become a pro, yes. Oh, man. May you read in your accent. Oh, should I read the book in my accent? That's funny. That would be kind of cool. What is assembly? Oh, boy. I want you to Google that. Just type in, what is assembly? Because I'm not going to get into that right now. Okay, more questions here on YouTube. I know HTML, CS, React, and Node. I can build a complete web app. Couldn't land an entry-level web job so far. Any advice for interview? Yeah, Kenneth, it's all about, first off, your skill level. I don't know if it's good or not. But secondly, it's about building more projects, good projects, big projects, not simple ones. And it's also how you present yourself. Your resume's got to be good. You got to try and, I typically recommend people get 3 or 4 freelance projects on it, or your CV. I don't know where you're from. I don't even know what CV stands for, but anyway, you got to present yourself well, come in with confidence, and practice. Do lots of job interviews. It takes time and practice. You can't just go at it once or twice. You got to keep at it. What languages do I need to learn to build a website? I thought we answered this already. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React are great starting points. Are junior backend jobs? Okay, I'm scrolling down. I feel like I'm reading some of the same old questions here. Django versus no. Okay. Is it okay now? HTML, CSS, Java, J. I don't know. Um, I've got Android development experience, but companies, even for Android role, are asking hard category elite code questions. Now I should focus on improving Android knowledge. Look, Rahul, I don't know where you're applying. I don't know where you live in the world. Just apply for more jobs. Go work for a startup. Startups are great. Startups don't ask elite code questions. Like, who are you applying for? Like a 10,000 enterprise company, Google? Like, go work for a startup first. Go scrappy team of developers and hack some things together. People will pay you lots of money to hack things together, especially startups. So like in the beginning phases, they don't care so much about the code quality as much as they do about getting the product out. I'm not saying write bad code. I'm just saying like they need people in fast. Go find a startup. Um, Projects are just the main part to get a job. Yeah, do some contract projects. You'll get some cash too, but that'll help build your portfolio and give you work experience. You need to have experience working with people. What type of projects? Forget Python, Jack says. Elixir Phoenix with JS sprinkled is the bomb. That's funny. He's all about Elixir. Jack Davis. Do I have to save code to become pro or just copy codes? Oh, come on, Ahmed. Is that a real question? What do you recommend for beginners to become a developer? Woo! I don't even have water. I wonder if I should use this. How did you come up with the name DevSlope? So that's an easy one. So I lived in Utah, and there were ski slopes, like mountains, and it was development. So I was like, oh, development plus slopes. So dev slopes, like you were climbing the slope to a new, higher career pathway. Kind of worked out. I don't know. What's a good capstone project? Rick, do you not have access to the Capstone week? If you don't, let's get you access. I've got a bunch of projects in there that you can choose from, but like a really great one would be like, imagine building a Bitcoin wallet that does everything. Actually, sends transactions, receives stuff, does all the cryptography, build it from scratch. A Bitcoin wallet has all kinds of things you got to do, like transcoding data, different data formats, things like that, sending packets in the right format. So anyway, there's some big projects you could do. Chat with me afterwards as well too. Let's get you access to those capstone projects. What was the name of the college you went to for assembly? I toyed around with for like 2 months the University of Advancing Technology in Arizona, but it was like complete junk, and it was not worth the money. So I dropped out real fast. Degrees just weren't worth it. But anyway, yep. All right. Cool, everybody. I have so much to do today. We've gone on for quite a bit here. I'm going to wrap this up here. Make sure to check out my Kickstarter, Mark Walbeck Kickstarter, if you want to get 4 coding courses and a book for free. If you want to have a developer work with you one-on-one and coach you and get a guaranteed job or guaranteed projects, join the DevSlopes Academy. Send an email to mark@devslopes.com. You can get started for as low as $8 a day. Pretty cool. And that's it. I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks, everyone. These will be recorded, uploaded, and all that on YouTube and Instagram. So thanks, everybody, and we will chat again.